And then this is the update on the beans, green beans. And some of them did very well in the 5 days that I was away with the 100+ degree temperatures. I guess the more established ones did okay. But the problem was with the seedlings. I had planted or replanted where the first set hadn't come up, and most of them did not make it. If they did sprout, they were killed by the sun, but in many cases I don't even see where anything came up. I think the ground dried up and the seedling didn't make it to germination. But here is an example, or a couple examples of seedlings. It doesn't look certain that some of them will make it. Otherwise, the other seedlings look okay. They actually seem to be growing quite quickly. But I'm going to have these gaps where nothing came up. Even where I replanted it, nothing came up there. So these are all what I call the second tier. These will be available when the first group of plants starts to die. And here's a big empty space where nothing came up, or very few things came up. There's one there that came up, but then it was scorched by the sun. And I did put some mulch around these plants, but I think it needs to be thicker with the heat that we've been having. I'm almost discouraged to try to replant them again. The thing is, I have to be here every day. The seedlings, the seeds have to be watered after they're planted every day until the plants come up and the seedlings get established. But luckily they survived for 5 days quite well, even though they do have very shallow roots. So I'm quite happy about that. And over here, I'm proud to say I have my first very humble harvest of a green bean. Very slim pickings is what you would call that. And look, I only have, of these bush bean varieties, I only have 1, 2, a little one there, and 3 plants. Well, 4 out of 7 plants, only 4 survived. And then these are the Kentucky Wonder, which are doing what they're supposed to do. They're climbing the trellis very well. And I like these because they're much longer lived. They produce for several weeks compared to maybe a very short time for these bush bean varieties. In fact, look, there's just a few little tiny green beans, and that might be about it. That might be about all that they produce. But eventually this whole trellis should be covered with green bean vines and producing for several weeks. And then in the middle here I have the same thing, a tier 2 set of plants, but most of them didn't come up, even the ones I replanted. This is an example of one that just came up but was just baked by the 108-degree sun for several days. So the sun was very unforgiving of these seedlings. And I honestly don't have much in the way of a tier 2, so I should replant this row here when I can be here for a solid, at least a solid 5 days. They germinate in 9 days, but you have to water them every day or they won't come up at all. And then as far as the runners go, or the vines, actually runner is not the right word. Runner refers to the bush bean type. But now that this one's achieved this height, which is almost at eye level, what I'm going to do is train it to go sideways as it's high enough that you don't have to bend over to pick them. So I'm going to fill out the trellis in this direction, and they can go from there. Once they get over there, they can go up even higher as far as they want to go. There's probably 8 feet of pole there that they could, maybe 10 feet there, they can climb up. So I think we're fine on the trellis. And it's just a matter of waiting on these and continuing to feed them well. I'm giving them plenty of fertilizer in the form of Miracle-Gro and regular water. And I should get some green beans out of these. And forget about the bush variety. I don't think they do well here, because my neighbor always grew the pole variety. They were very convinced that that was the way to go. It didn't have anything to do with bush beans. But we got a big empty space right in here that I should replant. Like I said, when I can plan on being here at least every other day to keep them watered. We got a blank space over here as well. And that's your update for July 10th on the green beans.